I'm going to hand over now to Allouise van Deventer from Eskom. Allouise, if you can bring up your slideshow in the meantime. Allouise also MSc, busy with a PhD with Cape Town. She's been involved with Eskom for the last 20 years, and specifically with energy planning and market development as a senior manager for independent power purchases. Presently, a portfolio focus on the DSO and the DET. So, Allouise, we're looking forward to hear your thoughts. You're welcome to go over in presentation mode and share with us some 15 minutes from your side, please. Thanks.
Thank you, Art, and good afternoon to all the participants on the call. I'm going to be as short as I can. And I'm looking at this from a implementation perspective. The background is some of the information that has been shared this afternoon on this call, and it's specifically around the changes in the energy landscape, how things have changed from large, traditionally how we know power stations to be, to the integration of renewable sources, and now we're talking about the changes with the introduction of flexible energy services and resources, distributed generation resources. So my presentation is going to focus just on that. I'm just going to look at the distribution system operator. That's what we are busy introducing from an Eskom perspective in light of all the changes that many of the presenters have spoken about. So on the distribution system operator, what we are looking at is this is just the functions or the mandate for the DSO and the DET. It's being a balanced responsible operator, operating an active distribution system. This comprises of small-scale embedded generation, the microgrid, and the storage parts, and then how to aggregate or optimize on the use of the DERs. Then on the trader side, we're looking at providing energy trading platforms, being a facilitator of open and accessible markets, and then to enable competitive access for both producers and consumers. So what we are in essence talking about, if I have to practically talk about this, is about the current control centers, distribution network operators, the NMCs as they are known, to transition them to distribution system operators with the introduction of the DERs. Still, we'll be maintaining and managing wires, and we have information contained in our roadmap. Then just on our strategies, initiatives, and deliverables, our strategies in essence is the management of the active distribution power system, the trader aspects, enabling new products and services, changes in the policy and regulatory areas, and then to be a facilitator or aggregator. Our initiatives is the establishment of the DSO, the DET with aggregation functions. We are looking at the flexible energy services portfolio, changes to the ERA licenses and regulations, which we're actively engaging with the various stakeholders, and then also industry partnerships. So at the end of all of this, we are saying that probably we'd be having a DSO that's fully operational, the DET with its licenses, various energy trading platforms, and our flexible energy services portfolio well developed, as well as market rules or platforms that we will put in place. So just in terms of functions with the DSO and the DET, and what we also sometimes call the network operator, because sometimes there's a lot of buzzwords. In essence, what we're talking to when we speak of the DSO, it's the supply balance, and we're speaking of this on a distribution level, the scheduling or the dispatching of the DERs, and then voltage, and in future, potentially some frequency control. Looking at this from the entire South African distribution system. On the DET and what we are talking to here is the energy trading and the settlements leg of it, the energy aggregation, establishing virtual power plants, electric vehicle to grid for aggregated storage. And then on the retail services, it's around the development of all the flexible energy services, and we are linking them to the product services, where we eventually will be talking about a smart home. And then lastly, the network operator is as we know it currently, where we are traditionally have operated a passive network. Now with the introduction of all the FESs, the grid has become very active, and so the functions will still remain: operating of the power system safely and reliably, maintenance, refurbishment, commissioning, those things are still there. The IPP curtailment and the load shedding, these are the two areas that we are potentially talking of transitioning into the DSO leg. The industry role players is, from what we have known, vertically integrated with generation, our traditional power stations and with the introduction of IPPs. And then in the transmission area, what we have known as national control, and it was known as the wholesale or the single buyer. Now it will be called the transmission system operator, and it will have a market operator leg as well. And in the changes in the distribution area, it's the NMC, which we have known as the NMC, transitioning to the DSO and the DET. And then potentially there are changes within all the various stakeholders, and I've just listed them here, where changes will be coming to changes, as an example, from a consumer to being a prosumer. Then on the VPP side, the virtual power station leg. So on the system management side, what we are proposing is that, or what we are saying is that there'll be the transmission leg, which will have the transmission operator. So the interaction on the system, power system, will be between distribution, transmission as we traditionally know it, but the functions will just change. So the DSO will be interacting with them through the technical VPP, and now I'm specifically talking to the aggregation of the flexible energy services. So on the technical VPP is the DSO interaction leg, and on the DET we will have the commercial leg for the VPP. And that's what we're proposing. We're saying that will change in the future that's coming. Then the introduction of various markets. Whichever way the market will be unfolding, there will be a wholesale market, and whichever market is going to be coming into play there. What we are saying is that on the DER side, there will be generation initiatives, which will be the microgrid SSEG, the distributed generation resources, the BASs and the electric vehicles. And on the demand initiatives, there'll be some reduction initiatives like the demand response, power load, which we know, load shifting and load curtailment. These will be aggregated. We are envisaging that they'll be aggregated with the CVPP and then be sold to the market. So the products that you see here on the microgrid, these products are already in service on the grid as we are speaking, and we have made some significant strides in terms of making it visible to the DSO. This leg here is just a little bit more detail on what we are proposing from a resource allocation perspective for the NMC, the DSO and the DET, and then the activities that we're seeing taking place within each of these areas, and then the various information sheets, platforms, if you'd like, that we also will be needing to ensure that they operate effectively and efficiently. Then this is my last slide. All that this is trying to do is to illustrate potentially how we are envisaging the DSO and the DET will come into operation and what functions they will fulfill. So in essence, there will be a forecasting function within the DSO and schedule submitted from the various DER owners to the DSO, where there will be aggregation on the demand and generation side. There will be scheduling performed within the DSO, and that schedule that is compiled will then be submitted to the DET. The DET is in essence the trading leg of it, and the only difference between what we're doing currently and to how this is going to change is we will add the day ahead functions and the on the day intraday trading as well. And what we're saying here is that the flexible energy services owners, there'll be some sort of financial contracting, whether it be on a bid basis, and that will be submitted to the DET, which will then consolidate all of that information with the need from the DSO. And once that is consolidated, the DET will then either procure generation from the market operator, or it will sell the flexible energy services to the market operator. And in essence, that's what we are saying, how things we are proposing or seeing things are changing. And a lot of work has been done by the DSO team. So thank you for your attention.
Louise, thank you very much. I must say, from the slides and the sharing, you have done a huge amount of work on the Eskom side. Thinking